Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Mark Knight, and I just want to welcome you to this edition of Mark Knight Television. I want to talk to you guys about an announcement that was made today. Now, WWE may not have properly announced this thing, but it's been reported that they released longtime announcer and former Tough Enough competitor Josh Matthews from his contract from the WWE. Now, this is just the one of many releases that the WWE has done within a span of 2 weeks to help keep the company afloat. Now, you got to ask yourself this question: why would they get rid of Josh Matthews? I mean, Josh Matthews has proven himself to be a commodity as an announcer, and he has in-ring experience. But I guess, I don't know, they thought that maybe he couldn't get the job done inside the ring. I really don't know, because the guy's a good wrestler. If you guys seen the Tough Enough season that he was on, he did pretty well inside the ring, and he did very well, and he got hurt. But they decided to utilize his talking skills, his mic skills, and use him as an announcer. So for the last 12 years, he's been announcing WWE matches on SmackDown, NXT, main event, and he's been hosting the Raw pre and post shows and the pay-per-view pre and post shows, and been doing backstage announcing. So now they have other announcers there, such as Renee Young, who's very good, and the other two guys from NXT who are using the platform to become better announcers and stuff like that. Ryan Saxton and I can't think of the other announcer's name. And they're training more announcers. But at the end of the day, it's like, why let this guy go? You know, that's rather silly and basically asinine as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I think that Josh Matthews has been very good as an announcer for the WWE. He's done a great job. I mean, doing that is a tough job. I'm going to just let you know right now. I've watched professional wrestling for years, and I think the toughest jobs, besides being a wrestler, and besides being a referee and ring crew, and besides also being a matchmaker, I think would be being a color commentator, a play-by-play announcer, and an interviewer or a backstage interviewer or a host of a wrestling segment. I can tell you from experience, not only just by watching, but just by actually participating in doing these things. Now, if you saw any of my videos in the past, I've done play-by-play announcing on some of my old World Wrestling Union stuff. I've even hijacked the WTF show every now and then, and I've done announcing for groups like Empire Pro Wrestling up in the Bronx, and I've done announcing for the AIWA out in Brooklyn when they were running. So I can just tell you hands down that it's a tough gig. Also, I've done backstage interviews with guys and some of the girls, and I've also done things with other groups like the Sucios for Sucio Fest and things of that nature. But just being an announcer, being able to convey the story, convey the angle, get the people that help come into the arena, that is a very tough job. And although WWE right about now is doing what they have to do by saving money, by releasing talent, I just happen to ask this question. If this is the route that you're taking, then I have to give a word of advice to various wrestlers in the WWE who are sitting at home and not being utilized. Male or female, doesn't matter who you are. You guys need to find a way to get out and make some money. And it's good that you guys are getting checks from the WWE. It's good that you're getting your merchandise money. It's good that you're getting your pay-per-view money or your special event or live event money and stuff like that. You're getting your salary. That's great. But then it's just like how WCW was doing things. WCW's talent pool was so huge, so large, that they couldn't use everybody on television. For every 5 or 10 or 20 wrestlers that they signed a month and signed to really big contracts, they didn't use most of those guys. They used all of the A-list players and all of the B-list players on the shows. So you would never see, and I'm just going to throw a name out there. You wouldn't see Ice Train out there so often prior to the close of World Championship Wrestling. You wouldn't see Glacier prior to the close of World Championship Wrestling. You'd see Evan Courageous. You'd see Kaz Hayashi, and not taking anything away from guys like Kaz and you know, Kaz Hayashi and whatever, but they would use those guys. But you know, the others would stay home and collect a check. And it's simple. They released over 13 talents and a booker, a person in creative, if you will. They let that person go. So now, what do you have left? You have a big talent pool. So now WWE will be looking to release people from NXT that they're not using in the ring. They're not using for television purposes. They're going to release other WWE talent that are under contract still. And the one person that I'm worried about right about now is a self-made man who's under WWE contract. It may sound a little crazy that I'm saying this, but I'm going to suggest this to one Long Island Ice Z, the Woo Woo Kid. I'm talking about the former United States Heavyweight Champion, and I'm talking about the Internet Champion of the world, Zack Ryder. They're not using Zack Ryder properly, except for squashes. They're not using Zack Ryder in a compelling storyline to challenge after the United States Heavyweight title, which is currently held around the waist of Sheamus, which is fine. But then again, they did the same thing when Dean Ambrose held the United States belt. They did nothing with it. So you have a division that's sitting there stagnant doing nothing, except for having Sheamus feud with Cesaro. But they're not putting the U.S. belt on the line. So you figure, okay, they're not doing anything with The Miz except for having him do promotions. They're only throwing Kofi Kingston in various spots. They're not using R-Truth. And they're not using Xavier Woods except for job matches. So I would think that you would utilize those guys as your core for the United States division. But you're not doing that. So what do? You have a guy like Zack Ryder sitting at home and not attending or being used to work certain events. Now he'll work in some little town or some other city, but WWE recently had a show out in Long Island, I believe. And did they use him? No. They'll use the Brooklyn Brawler, but they won't use Zack Ryder at Long Island in his hometown. They booked him out there in Phoenix. Does that make sense? You should book the hometown guy or the hometown girl in their city where they come from, so that they can get a match and get a decent pop and do something that can wow the crowd. But now you got them jobbing off to guys like Rusev, not taking anything away from Rusev, but you got them jobbing out to guys like him, and then soon you're going to have them job out to guys like Bo Dallas and so forth. What point is that? Zach, I'm going to suggest something to you, Mr. Ryder, because I'm a big fan of you. I'm a big fan of yours. I've followed your Long Island Ice Z episodes, and you are the reason why the WWE became the social media giant that it's become within the last few years. All because of you taking it within your hands and making a name for yourself. If you did not do that, and I know this for a fact, and the entire wrestling world knows this for a fact, the internet wrestling community, the common WWE fans, and casual people who may occasionally watch professional wrestling know, or should know, that if it weren't for you, the WWE would not have these Twitter accounts, would not have a YouTube channel, and that's it. That's the truth. I'm going to suggest to you, Zack Ryder, before you get your best of luck for your future endeavors letter, or you get that phone call like JTG got and like how everyone else got, I suggest you take matters into your own hands once again. I suggest, because I'm sure you saved your money, I'm sure you are getting loads of revenue and residual money from all of the merchandise sales, because I believe you either 5 or 6 in line as far as like the most merchandise sold between 2012, actually 2011, all the way up till now. I mean, people still buy the Zack Ryder t-shirts, the Zack Ryder glasses, the Zack Ryder towels, the Zack Ryder fist, and the Zack Ryder teddy bears and things of that nature. Do like MVP. Do like Low-Ki. Take your career into your own hands. Ask for that release. Get on out of the WWE while they're reshuffling the deck so they can build up their money, so they can continue to pay guys like Brock Lesnar and RVD and so forth. Get out that contract. Go overseas, man. Go overseas. You know, I suggest you do that. It's crazy that I say this as a wrestling fan, but I suggest that for you. Get out that contract, man. Ask for that release. Get out of there. Go to Mexico. You know what I mean? Hone your craft there. Do the indies. You know what I mean? Get back out there. Team up with Kurt Hawkins. You guys run the wrestling school and also do your bookings and things of that nature. Continue to push your name. Even get back into doing the internet show and push your stuff, man. And do just like that. I mean, it's working for guys like Colt Cabana. It's working for guys like Adam Pearce. It's working for guys who took matters into their own hands and they're making a name for themselves. Now, granted, yes, I'm not trying to tell you to, foolhardily walk away from your bread and butter. But then you look at it. Your career was at an all-time high. And then just like how Eve came and punched you in the balls at WrestleMania, that's what's happening with your career in the WWE. So before you get that best of luck for your future endeavors letter, man, ask for that release. Call Hunter, talk to Vince, something. And then get in touch with all of the other professional wrestling companies out here. Perfect thing I could probably see you doing. I could probably see you going to TNA, and I could see you maybe even taking over the faction of the Bromans, and I could see you guys causing some serious ruckus and maybe even becoming a serious faction, knowing that they got you, the original broski, with them. That would tear the house down. Because the Bromans is sweating and jocking your gimmick anyhow. So I can see you leading them. Or go to Mexico, AAA, CMLL, make some noise down there. Or you can go to Wrestle One and wrestle for the Great Muta. Or you can wrestle for Pro Wrestling 01. Or you can go to Pro Wrestling Noah. Or you can go to All Japan. Or you can maybe even go to New Japan Pro Wrestling. You can do all those things and salvage that career and save that career. It worked for MVP. When he asked for his release, he went to New Japan Pro Wrestling, became their first ever Intercontinental Champion, wrestled in the G1 Climax for 2 years, wrestled on one Wrestle Kingdom show, and has done very well, and is the top heel in TNA Wrestling right now, because he took control of his career. Same thing with Low-Ki, took control of his career, went back to New Japan, won the IWGP belt for the 3rd time, and caused some serious ruckus and made noise. But that's the kind of man Low-Ki is. He took care of his business. He handled his career in his own hands. I know that you can do it, Zack Ryder. And for anybody else that desire to get into the sport of professional wrestling, work hard, pay your dues, train, study, eat, breathe, sleep, and garner everything that you can in the sport of professional wrestling. The circle is coming back at a full 360 degrees. The sport is going back to where it should be and can be. And when you got prospects like Jeff Jarrett getting ready to start Global Force Wrestling, when you got the NWA starting to get back into prominence, there's so much you can do. Trust me, there's more to life than World Wrestling Entertainment. Hop on it. If you like this video, please subscribe, like it, leave your comments. I hope that you would. Let me know what you think. Do you think that guys like Zack Ryder or anyone else that's sitting and waiting for a release letter from the WWE should be able to get up there, ask for that release, and get on out there and make that money, or sit there, earn them checks, and wait until you get that letter? Let me know what you think. If you like the video, please like the video, leave your comments. I want to see your comments. I want to know what you wrestling fans out there think. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, XM Nightbuster. Dig the music, SoundCloud.com/MarkA.Morel. Also, check this out on the Real Mark XMK fan page on Facebook. You can definitely do that as well and show your love. Peace.